Oh man, where to even start with this one? To say that sports games have rapidly degraded in recent years would simply be a massive understatement. That's without even accounting for the pre-2013 classics. The focus has quickly drifted away from creating engaging and remarkable experiences to microtransaction-filled disasters that we buy because they're the only option out there. The monopoly that EA, 2K, and more have is continuing to devolve into this mess of a landscape that we see now. With each passing year, less and less effort is being put into these experiences. All the time that would be spent developing these polished, complete masterpieces is simply being redirected to the microtransaction-filled My Team and Ultimate Team disasters. It's simply dumbfounding, because just going back to Madden 18-19 and 2K 18-19, the pieces for a truly great game were there. Yes, they weren't perfect, but the foundation was set for a future of progressively improving sports games. Madden with their Long Shot series was some of the best we'd seen from EA in terms of their narrative storytelling. To explain, Long Shot was the story of Colt Cruz and Devin Wade trying to make it into the NFL and the various events that occurred. Devin Wade was an unlikely high school superstar and 5-star quarterback who went to college with his high school teammate Colt Cruz, but after his father's death, he quit football for 3 years. They ended up making it to the NFL Regional Combine and got an incredible opportunity to appear on a reality TV show called Long Shot. I'll keep it brief and won't spoil everything, but it was an incredibly deep and rich storyline that had branching paths, genuinely likable characters, had 2 separate endings based on in-game performance and narrative choices, and had a scouting report that adapted to how you played. It was so different from anything we'd seen from them in the past in all the right ways. It wasn't always perfect, but it was a shockingly great story mode, especially for a Madden game. In the basketball arena, 2K made their My League and My GM truly interesting with a Sanderson storyline. It was an innovative idea that had Bob Sanderson as the owner of your team, forcing your hand to sign his son as assistant GM. Without spoiling it in case you have interest in going back, they influenced your decisions and forced actions you may not have wanted, just as it occurs in real life. It was a creative take on an interesting part of a game that really made you feel like a GM, if you know what I mean. All jokes aside though, it felt like a breath of fresh air, and to add the option to tell a story with a mode that traditionally never featured anything like it. Again, it wasn't perfect, as the dialogue was annoying at times and forced trades weren't always what everyone looks forward to, but it was an innovative take on a stagnant part of the game. But before the comment section explodes, 2K18 My Career did suck, but they were improving, and that's what I want to focus on. With 2K19 and Madden 19, they had expanded on what they had done, with 2K's improved My Career and My GM, as well as Madden's Long Shot sequel. With both of these narratives, you could see hope from a fan's perspective during the 2017-18 period. And then came the nuclear disaster that was Madden 20 and 2K20. This is where things really started to drop off. I bought both of these games at the time because I was excited to see where they were taking things, as they had really improved in recent years. I was wildly let down by the unmitigated disaster that was these 2 games. Not only did the Ultimate Teams take a bigger focus, but they completely dropped any real attempt to make an engaging narrative. Madden's face of the franchise was a disappointment. While it was nice to see college teams at the time, the narrative was a ginormous drop-off from Long Shot. It felt like after these 2 well-done stories from the publishers, they decided to go back to the half-baked trash. 2K completely dropped the idea of a narrative-driven My GM and just left the boring GM tasks and the chit-chat system that was pointless and irritating. From here, things continued to decline, getting worse every year. Buggier, more broke, more filled with microtransactions. I'm not saying that if you enjoy these experiences, your opinion is wrong, but simply put, there was a steep decline. For God's sake, there's a fracking battle pass in 2K this year. It's disgusting. How could they show so much promise, but then decline all the way back to the dilapidated mess we have now with the 24 editions from both publishers? One word: money. Why make a beautiful, promising story when it doesn't make any additional sales? Why try to make a game as unique from the other when you could just put out last year's game with 2.5% presentation differences? I've always been the guy that plays sports games for the narratives. I've always thought that the idea of living the life of a prospective player is fun and engaging. The stories are what separate these games each year. Sports can only be done in so many different ways, but these stories allow them to separate from each other. Unfortunately, with each passing year, things are only getting worse. I used to have hope for these things. I would look forward to each game coming out each year as a new experience. But now, it's just a passing gaze at whatever slop EA and 2K decided to put out. Sometimes, I look back to the days when I enjoyed these games the most. NCAA college football. They may not have been aggressively narrative-driven, but the presentation was exciting and the game was seething with culture and passion. All these things we saw just 6 or so years ago are completely absent. The quest for profit has overwhelmed the industry so bad, we can't even get okay sports games from these AAA producers. Ultimate Team, My Team, Diamond Dynasty, whatever you call it, these card collection modes have corrupted what makes these games truly special in the first place. The only shred I have hope left for is EA Sports College Football 25. Even with that, I'm only cautiously optimistic. Maybe one day things will change. We'll band together and vote with our dollar. Maybe we'll come together as players and protest these borderline shovelware games. I look forward to the day. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you tolerating my rant for however long this video lasts. Have a great day, everyone. I mean it. And don't forget I make Minecraft parodies. Go watch them.